Hello everyone, my name is Syed Asrar Ul Haq, and today we are going to discuss about the dynamic partial reconfiguration or the dynamic function exchange using the PINC framework. Now PINC is an open source project from AMD which provides a Jupyter based framework with Python APIs for using AMD Xilinx adaptive computing platforms. So basically, earlier when we performed this dynamic partial reconfiguration, we use the SDK based flow where all the PS based related functions are performed in the C++ flow, right? What this ping provides is the Jupyter based framework where Python APIs can be used. So basically it looks like now the SDK looks like this. So we don't have to go to the SDK. We can directly use the Python and the Jupyter framework to basically run any program on the PS of the SoC, right? And in this one we are using this pink Z1 board, but you can basically use any board that you have, provided it's the pink based board. It has this pink support. So you can read more about the pink one using the pink.reader docs. It has a good documentation, and you can learn about these things, right? So now in this video what we are going to see is that how to perform dynamic partial reconfiguration or the dynamic function exchange using the pink framework. Now this is the block diagram that we have been using in the previous videos also. So if you haven't seen the previous videos, please see those, how to perform their dynamic partial reconfiguration using the SDK flow. And then I will only discuss the changes that are to be made for this flow. So basically we had this processing system, SMC, the AXI DMA, GPIO. So these things were already there in the previous flow also. Now what is the change here is these three IPs that we are using. One is the PR decoupler, slice, and concatenation. So basically the entire thing is that we have to use this PR decoupler for this dynamic function exchange. Rest everything will be the same. These two are also used for this decoupler. Now the decoupler, what it does is that it isolates the partial region from the rest of the design during the uh, partial reconfiguration process. So while the design is being reconfigured, while this partial region is being reconfigured, we use the PR decoupler to basically isolate the signals, isolate the inputs and outputs of this from the other design, mostly because of this use of the DMA. What happens is that if we don't use the decoupler, the output valid signals remain high for some clock cycles during the reconfiguration region, which and actually DMA looks at that these are the valid signals, and it accepts those garbage values, and which creates like a system, the channel idle and other issues during the running process. So it's always good to use this PR decoupler, which isolates the region, partial region, reconfigurable region during this process. All right. So how to do this is that we will just search for this decoupler. So it's already written here. I will just show you how to add it. Right. So this is this partial reconfiguration decoupler, right? And it, when you add it, it comes like this. It has uh, decouple control signal and the decouple status. So this is the decouple control signal which is used to control basically during the partial reconfiguration process to isolate the region. Now we have to add the interface. If you see that we need two interfaces basically. One when giving input, so basically into input signals to the partial region, and another one is to get the output from the partial region. So we will add new interface, right? And we know that it's the stream interface that we are using because our IPs are stream IPs. So AXIS stream IP and the slave. All right. So we can see here this interface is added. Now this will be for the input to the IP, right? This will go to this is from the DMA, and this will go to the IP. Now we have to take the output of IP and give to the DMA. So we will add new interface, again the same thing, AXI stream, right, and then slave, it will be the same. So click on OK, and we can see that that's how we have made this. Okay, now the thing is, this decoupler, it needs the it needs to be under the control of the PS, right, and that is done using the GPIO ports, right, and so we need to enable the GPIO ports which are here, right, GPIO. So let's enable it. It's already enabled here, but in your case it might not be here. So double click, go to the PSP peripheral IO pins, scroll down, and you can see this GPIO EMIO. It needs to be enabled. All right, and then once it's enabled, go to the MIO configuration, input output peripherals, down, you can find this GPIO here. Click on it, and here we can specify the number of bit widths, right, and here maybe it might be in your case initially 32. Scroll up and go for 2, right, and click on OK. I will just do the cancel here because I have already done it, but you click on OK, right. Now we will have this GPIO input and output here with of 2-bit length. Now why we are doing it 2 bits, we will just look at it, see, we'll just explain it. Now if you see this decouple, it's just 1 bit, and here from the GPIO output we are providing 2 bits. In order to use only the 1 bit, we are using this slice IP, right, and it can also be get from here, slice. Okay, this is the slice one, and we can see this is this. So its input is 2-bit and the output is 1 bit, so it will only take the least significant bit of it, and that's what we have used here, right. Now basically it will take the 2 bits from the GPIO and only provide the 1 bit output to the decouple status, right, PR decoupler. And this is also used so we have the GPIO input also, so we will be using it to look at the status, what is the status of the decoupler, right. So the decouple status concatenated with the input status of the decoupler, whether it's on or off, and its status, that's concatenated and provided to the GPIO basically to monitor the state of the decoupler. All right, and because this is concatenated, so we need 2 bits, and so the GPIO interface has to be of 2 bits, and that's why GPIO output is also 2 bits, and we had to slice it down to 1 bit. All right, so yeah, that's how this PR decoupler is used, right, and this is the only addition that we need apart from what we have already seen. And after this is the initial configuration, and then we can move forward with the hardware design that we had already discussed before, how to generate the bit streams, and for generate the full and partial bit streams. So yeah, so this is for the hardware design for the DFX that we have to take care of. All right, now once the bit stream is done, so all the bit stream files are generated. Now once the bit streams are generated, we go to the Python flow, right, so let's go there. And this is like we have the bit streams, everything here. So these are the basically the full bit streams, config STA, config DRF, and these are the partial bit streams. We also need to make sure that this HWH file, the hardware handoff file, is also present in the same folder, all right, where the bit streams are. So I also have the data files in here which I require for my working functioning. So let's look at the code. Now this is how the DFX is done using the pink flow. So as I said, in the pink flow we use the Jupyter notebook and the Python for programming on the PS, and it makes coding very simple, right, programming PS, because Python is very simple one, And so we have lots some Python APIs which we can directly use to send the data, receive the data, as well as perform the dynamic function exchange. So I will only look at the code which performs this partial reconfiguration, right? So these are the things that we need to import. This is the SciPy standard SciPy one, which is because my data is in the form of mat files, so I use this SciPy load mat one, and the numpy basically to perform this some functions. These are the pink based functions which we have to use. One is the overlay, bitstream and allocate, and the GPIO. Because we are using the GPIO, we have to use this bitstream class is used to basically do this complete partial and full reconfiguration of the um, FPGA part, PL part. Allocate is basically used to transfer the data, right? Uh, when we have to use DMA and everything, right? And the matplotlib, it will be used to plot. It's the standard Python function. All right, so we have created this full bitstream class where we basically perform this partial reconfiguration and send the data. So this is the function for the partial reconfiguration, and we can see that how easy it is using this Python APIs to reconfigure or fully or partially reconfigure. So as I said that we are using this decoupler. The first thing during the partial reconfiguration, what we have to do is that we have to decouple the output of the, we have decouple the input and output of the partial region from the other static design. So what we do is that first it's this one GPIO which we are using. So we get the GPIO pin 0, right? GPIO 0, and it's as out, right? This is an output pin, and we look at the status of it. What is the status from this one? Now decouple write 1, so this basically writes 1 to our output pin, this one decouple pin. All right, so when it writes 1, it means that our partial region is uh, decoupled or isolated from the other static region, right? Then we perform this partial bit stream. Now to write a bit stream either partial or full, we just have to use this bit stream function in here. So it's already it's a function API which is from the pink one, which we have imported earlier. So we will just write partial one bit stream. We give the path name, and we say partial is equal to true. That means it's a partial reconfiguration, right? Not a full reconfiguration. And then so it's saved in like this one partial one, and then the partial one download will actually do this partial reconfiguration. And once it's downloaded, basically downloaded, or it has partially reconfigured, then we write decouple write 0. Now the decoupler will not isolate, so the isolation is off. So this is the flow for the partial reconfiguration. So we decouple, right? Decouple write 1, then we download the partial bit stream onto the board. Then once it's completed, we then write the decoupler as 0. So basically we remove the isolation, and this is this partial reconfiguration flow. All right, and this is the forward flow which is used for the basically functioning of the my IP one. I won't go into this. And then now let's go to this one. This is where we are basically doing this partial bit stream and everything. I will run it. Okay, so what happens start initially is that I will write this for fp is equal to full bit stream. So basically it will just initialize this my one, right? And then while true, this is where the partial or DFX is basically taking place, right? So it takes inputs from the user, and if my input is 1, then it will go for partial, the NMC list, and this is the bit path of the bit stream that it has taken. You can see that this path is the same. As I said, this is where my code file is, and we have these bit streams, and here I have all my bit streams, right? So this is it, bit streams. So if my input is 1, it will be reconfigured with this bit. All right, and then graph will be plotted, which is like here. Let's run it and we will see what happens. So first, all right, so let's go for one first. Now if x is equal to 1, it will load the STA partial bit stream into this one, right? It will go for partial, it's just for the different SNR ones. It will fp.pr reconfigure. So in the PR reconfigure, we had already defined this PR one, right? We just have to provide the path name and it will perform this partial reconfiguration or the DFX. So it selects the input file which I will use for the verification of my data, then partially reconfigure it, right? And then it will just run my command, run the program that we have written and provide us the output. So let's see. And you can see that this basically this is the output of it. So it's the normalized mean square error for my STA function, right? And you can see the values here, right? Now let's do it for the partial bit stream 2, right? So now if I give x as 2, it should reconfigure it with the TRFA partial block and provide me the output for that function, right? So let's see. So we can see that when we input x as 2, it's partially reconfigured and now the TRFI output comes, right? So this is the plot for it. So if we do x1 again, we can see that it will be partially reconfigured using the STA IP and we will get the outputs for the STA1. All right, so that's how the dynamic function exchange is done using this pink flow. If we in summary, if we have to see what changes are made, first thing is the addition of decoupler during the block design, right? And then the introduction of this GPIO ports in here, right? And this is for the block design, and for this pink one, this is the partially this is the code which is used for this dynamic function exchange. And that's all that needs to be done for the DFX flow using the pink. So thank you.